Adora, who was yet to come out of her room to sweep the compound, she felt so weak and dizzy to get up from her bed. She could overhear her mother-in-law, Nne, lamenting and cursing her outside. I don't know the kind of woman my son brought into this house. All she does is sleep and eat. Give me grandchildren, and she had refused. Her mother-in-law was saying, walking up and down the compound, making sure her voice was loud enough for Adora to hear. As if that was not enough, she came close to Adora's window, calling her, "You lazy woman, is it not time to drag yourself out of that bed? Or you want me to dance for you before you will come out and sweep? You know you are very lazy to do anything, yet you have refused to give me grandchildren that at least would have been helping me do those things you have refused to do. Adora, is it a crime that my only son married you into this house? Answer me, you baby eater." When Adora had her mother-in-law call her a baby eater, she fired back, "I am not a baby eater, Nne. I cannot even hurt anyone's child, let alone eating my own babies. Then prove it and give me grandchildren that would stay alive." Her mother-in-law snapped. Adora was deeply hurt. She came out of her room and went to pick the brooms to sweep the compound. She greeted Nne, her mother-in-law, but she refused to answer her, asking her to tell her what was so good about the morning. "Can't you hear the cries of children in other compound?" Adora, who felt discomfort in her stomach, didn't answer her. She dropped the broom and rushed to the back of the yard where she threw up. Nne followed her closely. She started laughing so loud at Adora. "So Adora, this is it this morning. You want to deceive me so that you will not do anything in the house today. Go pick up that broom and sweep my compound clean. And don't forget to prepare that yam for breakfast," she said to Adora, and left to her hut. Adora couldn't explain how she felt. She had wished her husband Obi was around. He was the only one that understands her in that house. But Obi had left to the farm early that morning. She carried some water from a pot and poured on her head, after she felt better and resumed her morning duties. 2 months after, Adora found out she was carrying a baby. This discovery was supposed to make her happy, but she was not. She refused to tell anyone. She became troubled. She started having sleepless nights. She would cry every night. One night, her husband Obi saw her crying. He inquired what was making her cry. Adora finally told him she was carrying a baby. Obi couldn't believe his ears. He was so happy. "But this is the great news, my love. It shouldn't make you cry," Obi asked his wife Adora. "I know, Obi, but I'm scared. I don't know what would happen this time." Obi drew her close to him and was consoling her and telling her not to worry, that everything will be fine, and that this time around their baby will stay with them. In the morning, Obi told his mother Nne that Adora was pregnant. Nne told his son Obi that this time they must do what they need to do to prevent Adora from eating the baby after birth. Obi got upset and asked his mother not to say such things about his wife Adora, that no mother would kill or eat her babies. It was just unfortunate that Adora's baby kept dying after birth, and nobody knew the reason for that. They had taken extra care when Adora delivered her second baby, after they lost their first baby few days after birth. They were very careful with the baby. They provided maximum care and attention to the baby, but yet the baby died after 4 years. The family couldn't believe it when they lost their second baby. Adora was shattered. She would cry from morning till night. She became a shadow of herself. When she took in again the third time, her mother-in-law Nne made sure she remained indoor and not to associate with other people, because according to Nne, the evil eyes were many and are monitoring her, but that time around, she wanted to protect Adora and the pregnancy. Adora obeyed her and stayed indoor throughout her pregnancy. Nne was the one going to the market, fetching water from the stream and gathering firewood from the bushes. When Adora entered labor, she refused to involve the midwives because everybody was a suspect to her. She and her son did the work of the midwives, and Adora delivered successfully. She gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. Their home was overflowing with joy. Nne made sure not to take her eyes off the baby. She would wake up in the middle of the night and go shake up on Adora and the baby. 3 days passed and the baby was still alive. They were happy and their hope were high. On the 4th day, the baby was still alive. They couldn't contain their joy. Nne would always dance around the house, thanking the gods for the precious gift of the baby. But on the sixth day, when they woke up from the sleep in the morning, the baby didn't wake up with them. They cried their hearts and eyes out. That was when Nne lost it. She started accusing Adora of being responsible for the death of her grandchildren. Because what other explanation would she give to her? Obi would caution his mother, but Nne's hatred for Adora increased with each passing day. Even Adora's breath was a problem. She would quarrel her for breathing. Adora became scared to take in again. She doesn't want to lose any baby again. Obi would always console and assure her that she wouldn't be losing any baby anymore, as long as the god they worship is alive. Eventually, Adora took in the fourth time. Nne was watching her with one eye. She left to visit a seer in their community one night. When she got to the seer's house, after narrating why she had come, the seer left her and went inside her shrine to consult her deity. She returned to meet Nne after she was through with her consultation. She told Nne that Adora was behind the death of her children. Nne in shock shouted, "Yes, I knew it. I know that girl is evil. It's clearly written on her face." The seer asked her to be quiet and hear the rest of the things she had to say. She told Nne that Adora is from the river and she had been feeding her babies to the river. She told Nne to go back home and bring Adora to her, that they must break the bond and the covenant she has with the river spirits. In high spirits, Nne went back home. When she got home, she realized that everybody were sleeping already. She was tempted so bad to go knock on Obinna and Adora's door, but she held herself back. She couldn't wait for daybreak. She kept walking up and down the house. The moment she heard the cock crew, she went to knock on her son's door. Obi, who was with his wife on the bed, inquired who it was. Nne angrily replied, "So it's a bad thing now to knock on my own son's door because he is not married to an evil woman." Obi and Adora were shocked. Obi rushed out of the bed to comfort his mother. He opened the door with force and shouted at his mother, "What kind of talk was that this early morning? Has it gotten to the extent that you won't allow my wife and I to sleep, Nne?" Nne snapped back, "Which wife? Is this one a wife too?" "Well, for your information, I went to Mbeke, the old seer house, in the night to find out what has been happening to my grandchildren. She told me your evil wife here knows something about it." Obi turned quickly towards his wife's direction. Adora rushed to the door and opened the door wide open, standing face to face with Nne. "Oh, you have come to fight me. Okay, fight me," Nne shouted at Adora. "You thought nobody will find out your secret. That means you don't know me, Nne, very well. Obi, this woman you brought to this house has been feeding my grandchildren to the river. She is a mommy water and she has been sacrificing my grandchildren to their evil water." Adora and Obi were shocked. Adora started crying. "How can you say such lies? I know you don't like me, but this is too much, Nne." Obi called everybody to the sitting room to come and have a seat. When they were all sitting, he asked his mother to explain better all that she has been saying. Nne told them what the seer said, that Adora must follow her to go see the seer for a solution. Obi asked his wife Adora whether she had an idea about what they were saying, and Adora maintained she was innocent of the accusation. Adora refused to follow Nne to the seer's house because, according to her, the woman was telling lies. Nne laughed so loud, turning to his son. "You see it now. Is this not enough evidence already? If she claims to be innocent, then let her follow me to the seer house." Adora was crying, looking at her husband helplessly. "All right, Nne," Obi said. "We would all be going to Mbeke, the old seer's house." Without having their breakfast, they all dressed up and left their house to the seer's house. When they got to Mbeke's house, Mbeke told Adora that the covenant she had with the river in her past life have come to play in her present life, that they must break the bond she has with the river spirits. She told them that Adora must follow her to the river, where she would bathe every night for 3 days, and after that, her babies will stay alive. Adora was scared and afraid of the condition the seer gave to her, but her husband assured her that he would always go with her to the river until the assignment is completed. Nne was happy when Adora completed her bath in the river. She couldn't wait for Adora to put to bed. When Adora carried to full term, she gave birth to a very beautiful baby girl. But the baby died after 2 days. When this fourth baby died, Nne's hatred for Adora was out of this world. She told her it's now very clear to her Nne that she, Adora, had sworn that she would not let her carry her own grandchildren till she died. From that day, Nne started disturbing his son Obi to marry a second wife that would give him children that would stay. But Obi refused. Adora, who is pregnant with her 5th baby, was worried and restless. She was lost in thought. She asked her husband she wanted to go to her father's house to stay with her parents for some time. She needed to get away from Nne's troubles as well. Obi allowed her to visit her parents. Adora's parents were happy to see their daughter. But then they noticed how sad and disturbed their daughter was. Adora's father paid a visit to chief priest. He narrated his daughter's predicament to him. The chief priest requested to see Adora. Adora followed her father back to the chief priest's shrine. The chief priest examined her closely. After he asked them why they wasted so much time before coming to him, he told Adora and his father that Ogbanje has been tormenting Adora, that Ogbanje are the children that kept coming and going back to where they came from. They have great fun doing that they hardly stay alive for their selected victims. But he asked Adora and his father not to worry, that there is a way to trap in Ogbanje, and he or she will not be able to go back again. He gave Adora a substance to be rubbing on her stomach every night, and while she applies that on her stomach, she should be speaking to the baby in her womb, that she knows who she is already, and there is no going back for him or her. Adora made sure she followed the chief priest's instructions. She made sure she never missed to apply the substance on her stomach. She stayed with her parents until she was 8 months gone. She decided to go back to her husband's house. Her mother insisted she must follow her back to her husband's house to make sure nothing happens to the baby. Few weeks after Adora went back to her husband's house, she put to bed. But few days after Adora's child was born, the baby became so sick. Adora's mother went back to the chief priest's shrine to ask for help. Without wasting time, the chief priest followed her to see the baby. But before they could get there, the baby died. Adora was uncontrollable. She wanted to kill herself too, but Obi held her. The chief priest, who was already in Obi's compound, carried the baby girl, requested for a knife which he used to leave a mark on the baby's back. They were wondering what he was doing, and the chief priest told them that with that mark on the baby's body, she will not be able to go back again next time she comes to life. After the death of this child, Adora swore never to take him again. She said she had had enough. She pleaded with Obi to please listen to his mother Nne and take a second wife, but Obi refused. 2 years after, Obi saw that Adora was not ready to change her mind about having babies. He decided to marry a second wife. Adora was happy. At least Nne has left her alone. She was equally happy for Obi. 9 months after Ngozi was married into the family, she gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. It was a thing of joy, especially when nothing happened to the baby. The baby was everything to Nne. She doesn't joke with him, and at the same time, she asks Adora never to touch the baby so that she doesn't feed her to the river like she does to her babies. Adora didn't mind as long as nobody was troubling her anymore. Obi was glad that his 2 wives were relating so well, not minding Nne's behavior and attempt to create enmity between Adora and Ngozi. He named his son Afamefuna. Afam was a replica of his father. He was growing so fast. He became Nne's handbag. Anywhere you see Nne, she must be carrying Afam. A year after Afam was born, Adora fell sick. Obi was carrying his dear wife up and down, from one herbalist to another, but nothing seemed to change. It was after 2 months they found out Adora was pregnant again. When Adora learned she was pregnant, she refused to accept it. She told her husband she would rather kill herself than go through pains and heartbreaks again. Everybody was trying to calm her down, but nothing was entering her ears. One fateful day, when Adora was home alone, she took a rope, left the house, and went deep into the farm to kill herself. But a palm wine tapper who had come to check on his wine saw her and stopped her. He took her back home and told Obi what he witnessed early that day. From that day, Obi and Ngozi never took their eyes off Adora. She was monitored closely. They continued this way till the day Adora delivered a very beautiful girl. The whole family were rejoicing, including Nne. The baby was so beautiful. But one shocking thing about the baby was, she had a mark on her back. That was when they remembered the mark the chief priest left on Adora's dead child's back. Without wasting time, they alerted the chief priest, who wasted no time to come. When he saw the mark, he smiled and told them, at least they are now very sure they are dealing with Ogbanje. He told them the baby here was the same baby that came before. He told Obi that they must name the baby Ogbanje so that each time anyone calls her by that name, she would always remember that her secret is no longer hidden and she cannot be able to go back from where she came from. But before the chief priest left, she told them to be very careful not to be upsetting the child because what they would be getting in return would be huge. Did the baby stay with Obi's family just like the chief priest said, or she returned to where she came from? We will be telling the rest of the story in our next video. Please subscribe so that you don't miss the rest of the story. Hope you really enjoyed the story. Let us know your thoughts and where you've seen this video from in the comment section. Thank you so much for your time. Bye.